Welcome to the October 24th edition of the News and You. We're going to look at a few little news article headlines and look at what we can do to prepare for that eventuality and maybe avoid it happening to us. Or just talk about it. Canadians misled on handgun freeze. So, this article talked about that since the handgun freeze, gun crime has gone up. Law enforcement members in the article indicated that in their careers they had not seized a legally registered gun from a criminal. So what are the lessons we can take from this? Well, I'd say we have to look to understand the source of the problem. Whatever you're looking at, try and dig deeper. Use the five whys. Well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Keep digging down. Know your audience too. Maybe the government has to get the message to and go after the criminals a bit more, not the law-abiding gun owners. So just something to consider, and something interesting that sometimes the controls we put in place. So this control, the handgun freeze, was supposed to address the risk of being more crime and more violent crime, more deaths due to handguns specifically. So you have to evaluate, you have to know your risk, write proper risk statements, look at the inherent risk. So that's the risk prior to any controls being put in place. And then look at the controls. And are the controls preventative or detective? So in this case, they wanted this control to prevent the risk, to lower the likelihood and or the impact of that risk should it occur. And then you have to go back and evaluate the effectiveness of that. Was your control designed properly? And if it was, when you implemented it, did it perform as you expected? If not, you have to go back and make changes to that because it may be an inefficient or ineffective control. Things to never plug extension cord into extension cords. So this article it was good, and it's a good topic on fire safety because and electrical safety. That's something we should all be preparing for. This is very, very common. It's one of those core contingency things that we need to prepare for. There's a few things, right? Stay in or get out. So do you want to shelter in place? Do you want to evacuate? Fire safety is a big one. So the article mentions things not to plug into extension cords, like refrigerators, other extension cords, or daisy chaining multiple extension cords together, toasters, toaster ovens, microwaves, air conditioning units, air fryers, basically anything that's going to have a high draw. Like when you look at your, say, a blow dryer for your hair and it says 1500 watts or a 1500 watt space heater, something like that. So it's got a big draw. Lessons from this: match the cord gauge. So that's the thickness of the cord gauge. And it'll be expressed in 12 gauge, 14 gauge, different things like that. The smaller the number, the larger the gauge, just like shotguns. And so you have to match that. If you've got something that you know is a high draw, uses a lot of energy, you're going to want an extension cord that's matched to that. And anything like mentioned above or those high draw items, you want to have a dedicated circuit to it. So, for example, a freezer or a refrigerator, you don't want to plug that into an extension cord. Temporarily, if you're moving something, okay. But you don't want to permanently have that. So you want to get it wired properly and have an actual outlet put in there by an electrician that is dedicated to that. Your microwave, your stoves, ovens. If you have, instead of having a space heater, get a baseboard heater put in, get it wired properly. Also, don't wrap extension cords or any cord around things. So if you have, you go to plug a lamp in, you think, well, this cord's way too long. I get it. You want to avoid the tripping hazard. But if you wind the cord around the lamp itself or around a chair leg or a table leg or something like that, it causes a lot more heat to build up. So don't do that. And same with extension cords. And don't run them under carpets, under rugs. Again, temporarily, if you have to put on extension cord and you want to avoid a tripping hazard, I've seen people tape them down, put a rug over it, or run or something like that. Okay, but not a good habit to get into, and just be aware of that. And same thing with plugging multiple power bars together, all of that kind of stuff. Be very, very cautious with that. Travel advisories. Well, yet again, more travel advisories uh, in different articles about travel today. First article discussed how Canada had issued advisories to 47 countries due to mosquito-transmitted diseases. There was more articles about people who had gone to Cuba, telling other people stay away. It's not worth it. If you're going to an area, a couple of the diseases, the outbreaks, whether it's mosquito borne or other issues, um, and wars, weather, natural disasters, all kinds of strife and conflict. Is it really worth it? Do you really want to travel? There's lots of wonderful places to go. Um, don't go to places where you're going to rely on the government to then go and say, okay, well, I know I shouldn't have gone here. There was a war raging. We were warned not to go. Now, where's my airlift out of here? Because now I want to come home. Yeah, maybe don't do that. Um, don't put yourself in a bad spot. Check advisories before you go. I know sometimes these things pop up, but sometimes you can see them, a long ways in advance. Maybe consider spending that holiday time and money working on some of your other preps at home. It's all about lifestyle and choices we make. Sometimes you have to sacrifice those trips places. And then if you say, "Well, I never have money. I can't do any prepping. I don't have money for it. I don't have time for it." Make those decisions. Make good decisions, and think about those things. There's lots of wonderful places to go uh, in Canada. Well, shoot, come out and see me, and we can spend time talking about prepping and emergency management. Thanks very much.